and thank you for joining us on Labor Lens. Today's show is full of interesting packages. We will be focusing on minimum wage and we'll bring to you job openings across the country and more. I am Sharon Ijason.
The National Union of Banks, Insurance and Financial Institutes has called on workers in the banking sector to unionize. This call came after the delegates conference which was held in Lagos recently. According to the president of the union, Comrade Danjuma Musa, to ensure minimal loss of job and professionalism in the sector, it is essential for workers to unionize.
We have had so many challenges over a period of time, but again, we have also decided and discovered that without we coming together as a union to propel and then to see things in the right direction, there's no way, all those things we're mentioning, ranging from fighting in-house and externally, will, take shape.
The Kogi State chapters of the Nigerian Labour Congress and Trade Union Congress declared an indefinite strike over unpaid salaries. This is coming just as the National Union of Local Government Employees also issued a 7-day ultimatum within which they would also embark on an indefinite strike if government fails to meet with their demands. The chairman of the union, Ono Edoka, says the workers' demands are the full payment of all salary arrears owed workers, stoppage of the clock-in, clock-out system, which according to him is aimed at casualizing workers. Aviation workers under the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria held a protest in Lagos recently to register their displeasure over the federal government plan to concession major airports in the country. The Air Transport Services Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, the National Union of Air Transport Employees and Nigerian Union of Pensioners gathered at FAN's premises in Lagos. According to the labor leaders, if FAN is independent, it has all it takes to maintain the airports and their facilities. Other stakeholders who attended the protest were of the view that if concessioning must take place, it must follow strict legal and legislative framework, which must go through the National Assembly and have fundamental laws that will guide it.
Adebimpe Onolapo is a teacher at a school in Ketu, Lagos. She has been working as a teacher for more than 5 years. She tells me her salary is 18,000 naira monthly. That's about $50 US. In my desire to understand how a person survives on less than $2 per day, we set up our camera and set out with Adebimpe from her house to the bus stop where she takes a bus to Ketu, Lagos. At this point, she pleaded anonymity, and so we agreed to keep her face out of the picture as much as possible. For Adebimpe, the routine of every typical workday involves deploying a marker on a board to impact lives and earn a living for herself. After the day's job, we visited her home in Ibafu. She narrates to us how she manages 18,000 naira with 2 children who have to be fed, clothed, and attend school.
I earn close to 18,000 in a month.
Okay, and is that sufficient for you?
It's not sufficient for me. I'm just managing it.
Okay, so generally, if I may ask, are you married and do you have children?
Yes, I'm married with 2 kids.
How is it been generally in terms of faring for them?
It's not easy for me. For the past 3 years now, I've been managing their school fees. I have to pay their school fees, but though my husband is supporting in that aspect, their food, they have to eat. Maybe in a month, I have to look for what they eat. Like, I spend close to 8,000 in a month for the house rent.
Okay, well, how much do you spend when it comes to the house rent on a daily do you pay on a monthly basis or on a yearly basis?
I paid monthly basis.
And how much do you pay?
Like, okay, 2,000 in a month.
Okay, so you pay 2,000 naira
In a month.
Okay, so that will be times 12. Do you pay that fully or your husband supports with that?
My husband too do support, but sometimes he do support.
Okay, so you pay 2,000 naira on a monthly basis.
Yes.
Okay. So can you explain, has there been any time that probably you've had issues with the landlord because you're not meeting up with the rent?
Yes.
Can you tell me that story? With the high rate of inflation in the country, I asked Adegbingbe how she is able to cope with house rent and electricity bills.
We use Jane, so sometimes we own Jane. We buy fuel to charge our phones, stuff like that. But the Jane we buy every day, and it's not enough. We have to manage ourselves. Just for out of that 18,000 I'm collecting. It's not easy.
Adebimpe Onoluwapo, who is a teacher in a private school, just like any other worker in the country who receive a similar amount as salary, is hopeful that the government will consider an upward review of the minimum wage and make life more meaningful for the Nigerian worker. Here is the graphical representation of the expense made by Adegbingbe every day and what it comes to at the end of the month. The obvious question is, where does she get the balance? The likely answer could mean that every day for Adegbingbe yields a miracle.
The present day reality, no, it is really not at all. You can't even, how are you going to do it? Even within a month, you would have expended that on just only on transportation. Even depends on where you work. If somebody is, take Lagos for example, probably you are living in maybe Ikorodu, and you work in somewhere in Ireland. Under two, which you will have expended the 18,000 minimum. You are not talking about school fees for your kids. You're not even talking about feeding. You're not talking about other social amenities that you have to pay. In fact, if it was when the naira was a little bit valuable, I mean valuable, where you has about 190, 150 to $1, it could make sense. We are talking about something about 360 naira to $1. No. Even if it is increased to 50,000, it cannot even take anybody home. At least for we're talking about an average family. An average family, you talk about the husband and wife, maybe about 3 children. It can never, and it is hard time that those that are responsible for the upward review of the minimum wage get cracking, because the more it stays, the more it delays, the more workers get frustrated.
Depending on the state where you are from, and that's why when people talk about restructuring, these are areas that we need to restructure in terms of the minimum wage. I don't see why Lagos State minimum wage should be like that of Kebbi State. Are you with me? So, depending on where you are from, the house rent in Lagos cannot. If you pay somebody in Lagos State 120,000 and you pay somebody in Kebbi State 120,000, comparatively, even the person in Kebbi is even earning much more than someone in Lagos. So, first and foremost, 18,000 is not enough. Considering current realities, 18,000 is not enough. However, when we want to restructure the issue of minimum wage, let each state pay according to its own capacity and according to prevailing market condition. And that will solve the problem. Other than expecting us to have a national minimum wage, there's no way it is done anywhere in the world. And I stand to be corrected on that. Doctors don't earn the same amount of money in United States of America. It varies depending on the state where you are working, and that comes into the narrative of restructuring which we are talking about. Let each state pay according to its capacity, but the minimum wage should be enough to put food on the table, clothes on the body, and shelter over the body, and take care of the basic needs of the people.